So this is a homework video for the homework for the chapter 10 section 1 problems. You were assigned 6 through 20 evens only, and I modified the actual conditions of the homework. The homework says graph the function and then compare the graph with the graph of y equals to x squared. I told you just to compare and not graph. So you're looking at the quadratic functions and you're seeing what the parabolas would be different by, what's going to make them different. So you're looking for the differences and then you're simply writing down what you think will be different between the parabolas. So number 8, and I'm going to do 8, 12, 16, and 20. We're assigned 4 problems, so I'm going to do half of those. So number 8, you have y equals to negative 3x squared versus the y equals to x squared. So you're always comparing against this, which is kind of like the baseline, the basic parabola. So different right away, you have two things. You have the sign right over here. Well, that's different. And then you have a number in front of the x squared. So that's different. So for number 8, you will write two things, two differences, two modifiers to the parabola from the standard. Now remember, there's always a hidden one in front of the x. So first let's take a look at the number in front. So we have a 3 versus a 1. What does that do? What happens if you have a number greater than 1? Well, it makes the parabola shrink. So you can say that the parabola will be narrower, the parabola will be more acute. So you can definitely say that. So right here you would write the parabola will be narrower. The new parabola, the y equals to negative 3x squared, will be narrower than the original. And then you take a look at the sign. This parabola is positive. This one's negative. So what does that do to the actual problem? It will flip the parabola and make it face the opposite direction. This parabola faces up. This parabola is going to face down. And you would write that in your own words as well. So the two differences are this parabola is narrower than the baseline, and it's also facing downwards, whereas the baseline is facing upwards. Number 10. Not number 10, number 12. I'm skipping 10, I'll let you do that one. So again, we're comparing against the baseline, this new quadratic function, this new equation, and we're going to see what are the differences. Well, first of all, right over here, we have a negative where it's a positive in our baseline, and then right over here, we have something other than a 1 in front of the x squared. So let's start with the value. We have a 3 over 4. It's a fraction. Fractions are less than 1. So what happens to the parabola where the number in front of the x squared, the coefficient, the a, is less than 1? The parabola widens. So this parabola will be wider. Not by much. It's not a very small fraction. It's pretty close to 1. So it'll be wider, not by much. So it's a little bit wider. And then we're going to take a look at the sign. The original parabola is positive, which means it's once again smiley face. This parabola has a negative in front of the x squared, which means it's going to face the opposite directions. It's going to face down, frown. So it's going to be frowning. So it's a little bit wider and it's facing the opposite directions. That's all you need to write down. 16. Let's see here. We have y equals x squared minus 1 or minus 7 versus, again, our baseline y equals x squared. We're going to compare the two. Well, looking at the actual x squared, the sign is the same. The number in front of the x squared is still a 1. So that part didn't change. So our parabola itself isn't any wider or narrower, and it's facing in the same direction. So they're both facing up. They're both smiley faces. The only thing different is this minus 7. Now what this does is it shifts the vertex. So what you want to write down for 16 is that the vertex of the new parabola is shifted. It's a -7. The negative means it shifted down into the negative direction on the y-axis. So it's going to go down. The parabola will shift down. The vertex will shift down. And it shifts down 7 units. That's the only difference. So you would say that the new parabola is shifted downwards. The vertex of the new parabola is shifted downwards 7 units. And that's it. And last but not least, you are gonna do, so I'm gonna do number 20. We have y equals x squared minus 1 versus our baseline y equals x squared. This is super simple. It's actually simpler than the problem before. The x squared itself is the same number in front, the hidden 1. It's positive, so the parabola is no wider or any narrower. It's the same width as our baseline. They're both pointing the same direction. They're positive, so they're both pointing up. They both have a smiley face. And the only difference is we got this -1. That means that in this parabola, the vertex is shifted downwards 1 unit. So the vertex literally it moves down on the graph by a single unit. And that's it. That's all you write down for number 20. So if you have any other questions, although hopefully this was pretty simple, just ask me in the classroom and I'll more than happily answer these questions when we go over this homework on Monday. Monday. So thank you very much.